Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is the Real Gabe Anders, and you're listening to the Real Gabe Anders Show. We have a fun edition here tonight on the Real Gabe Anders Show. We are midway through football season. We have a big Tyson versus Logan Paul fight happening Friday night. An AWF Retribution is going to be taking the AWF Arena by storm in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. All sorts of good stuff coming off a great show, the Elimination last month on the Arizona Wrestling Federation. Check them out at awflive.com. And hey, how about some sports news? Want to start off your night with some sports news? I know that I do. Tampa Bay Rays finding out. Remember in the hurricane, the Tropicana Field, not the most favorite of ballparks from what I've gathered in the consensus. I was never able to visit, but certainly nobody wished this upon it. It was destroyed in the hurricane or wildly damaged. Tampa Bay Rays will be playing their home games in Steinbrenner Field. Easier for me to say. It is the New York Yankees spring training facility. And my first thought, which might be your first thought, is why the Yankees spring training facility? I guess that is the largest, highest capacity stadium in of all the East Coast spring training stadiums in or ballparks in Tampa. So there you go. So Tampa has a home. The A's also have a home. Notice I didn't say Oakland as they're playing in Sacramento. Apparently they will be scrapping the geography altogether. I can't quite say that I've seen at least a major league ball club do that, but they will be just the Athletics. They have changed their name abbreviation for like when you're watching TV and you see the score on the scoreboard, that 3-letter abbreviation, from OAK for Oakland to ATH for Athletics. So Oakland A's will just be the A's as they play in Sacramento next year. And I think the Vegas thing's happening, right? I'm pretty sure it's still happening. So and eventually they'll be the LVA, the Lava, I don't know, or the Raiders are the LVR, right? So we'll see. Time will tell. Let's see if they make it there. Oakland made it there. Oakland. The Raiders made it there, so let's see if the A's are able to follow. And then, hey, boxing news. Speaking of the big fight that's going to be taking place Friday night, did you hear what happened? Did you see it? Check my Instagram. RGA Show, at RGA Show. Mike Tyson slapped Logan Paul in their last face-off, their last encounter the night before the big fight. It's got a little wild, got a little scrappy there as Mike Tyson slapped him right across the face. What'd the 5-finger say to the face? Mike Tyson let not Logan Paul, but Jake Paul. Logan Paul is in WWE. Jake Paul, the brother, is the one racking up the wins in the boxing world, taking on Iron Mike Tyson. Man, I did a lot of watching of both of them, and this is going to be a fun fight to watch. I like how Jake Paul was wearing a crystal earring in one of the press conferences because he, in quotes, is not going to get his ear bit off. So, sound strategy there. And that's going to be a money fight. They moved it from the July date, and we've been anticipating and waiting it with open arms, bated arms. I don't know what would be the correct one. Open arms, I guess, right? So, more news. We're watching the Washington Commanders play Philly. We'll be talking about the NFC East a little bit upcoming on the program, and as it stands right now, this will be your dead giveaway as to when we are putting this episode together. But the Commanders score update. It is currently 7-0, and they are marching the ball. Who has the ball? Man, it's so hard to tell with football anymore. I just saw Chin, so okay, the Eagles have the ball. With all these numbers, everyone, it seems like, is wearing numbers 0 through 20, so without the groupings for the positions as they had before, man, is it hard to tell who is who and what side of the ball is out there. You used to be able to tell. I know that like some of the argument, right, was the lack of freedom and the the players being able to do what they want, express themselves the way they want, whatever. That's great and fantastic. I love it. But from a broadcasting aspect and just overall watching it and try to keep track, man, you really have to pay attention to literally what hands the ball is in, because you cannot bank on number 84 being a wide receiver, number 11 being on the offense as a quarterback, or you might have number 9 as the linebacker or defensive end position. So not 90, not 91, not 99, but you might have number 9. So, well, I'll move on. I'll move on. That'll be a rant for another day, but I think that about sums it up. I think you got the full rant in there. The Ashton Genty, I think it's Genty. One of the top running backs that I've been watching out of college football wants to be a Dallas Cowboy, apparently. So that would be interesting. Speaking of the NFC East, that is, I don't know that that's the best use of him, but it certainly would be a boost to the Dallas Cowboys, who, Lord knows, entering, what is this, week 9, week 10, Lord knows they're looking for one. So, hey, maybe they'll come in the draft. So, I don't think they're tanking. Nobody's officially tanking, right? But there's some incentive for the Dallas Cowboys season to continue to crumble. I'm sure you've heard Dak Prescott is out for the season. He'll be having a surgery that'll be taking him out of action for the rest of the year. And on that note, injury news, Chiefs Harrison Butker was placed on the injured reserve. So that'll be interesting to see just what just to see if that impacts the Chiefs. Kansas City almost seems like they're not impacted by anything, not impacted by much, but I'll be interested to see if Harrison Butker makes a difference. They haven't been playing the most amazing, pedal to the metal type football. They're not exactly blowing out everybody, 58-7. A lot of close games, including last week against the Broncos. A lot of sloppy games like earlier in the season against the Bengals. And a lot of very, very close one-decision games. Juan Soto, before the break, last bit of news, free agent, meeting with the Blue Jays, Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, Dodgers, Giants, and Rays, reportedly so. We'll see where he ends up, and I'm Gabe Landers. We'll be back after this break. Alrighty, folks, welcome back in. This is Gabriel Anders. You're listening to The Real Gabriel Anders Show. Hope you had a good break. We're going to armchair quarterback a little bit here. We're going to do some evaluations. We're going to get some mid-season status reports going. And above all, we're going to look at the NFC East. The division that wasn't about, say, nearly a decade ago, maybe a little less than that, and the division that's trying, or not quite the little division that could. I'd say that's more the NFC South. They're certainly not the division of prominence. They are not the division of mediocrity, which would be, I would say, the AFC West right now, with everyone but the Chiefs, with the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers. Which will, I think, with those, we'll talk about that division a little bit later. Maybe not today, but at a later time, because there's some promise there. We are talking about the NFC East on a Thursday night. We're on Amazon Prime. If you're not watching it, if you're not listening to this live, at the moment you can actually be simultaneously watching, mute, of course, so that you can hear the RGA show. The Washington Commanders battle their NFC East rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles. Also for inclusion, who will be partnering up or pairing up against one another on Thanksgiving Day, no less, which I believe that happened a couple years ago. The other two foes, nemesis, of the division, the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. The lesser, I don't want to say lesser of the four, but record-wise, they are on the downside of the division, across from the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Wow, let's hit the biggest surprise off the bat, right? Washington Commanders. What do we got going on here? Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels. Let's see if I don't get that mixed up more than one or two times here tonight. Jaden Daniels, I don't know how much expectation was put on him. I know that I was not a fan of him going right into the starting role. I was watching them in training camp. A couple of big moves that I haven't had the chance to talk to with Washington is I loved that they brought in Zach Ertz, and I love that they picked up Austin Eckler. Those are two major components to. I think it was they fit what the Commanders were trying to do very well. Also, I believe that bringing in the Cowboys ex-center, I'm going to butcher this, Tyler. I've heard him referred to as Tyler Badass. I don't think that's the official pronunciation of his name. Maybe if you ask him, Tyler Badass, but has been performing phenomenally well, and I think maybe very unsung, but Jaden Daniels has had an ample amount of time, and I think that the first few weeks of them scoring 40 plus, I think it might have felt sort of fluky. But the remainder of the first half of the season has really proven that the Commanders are something to deal with here. They have something going on, and as the season's unfolded, I definitely think that I don't think that Luke McCaffrey has made as huge of a splash as he could just yet. But with Jamison Crowder on the IR, I think that Terry McLaurin has really stepped up. He has become a playmaker while Brian Robinson's been out, and they got him back tonight. I think that Austin Eckler has been showing that he still has much left in the tank after leaving LA, and that Jerry McNichols has also stepped up very nicely. Whether or not there's a big influence, I think having Marcus Mariota on the bench with Jaden Daniels was a very good idea and has played out very well. Their line's been holding up, and their defense has been quite on beat as well. So Washington Commanders are they're the major part of this segment, right? Just because they're the biggest surprise. Eagles are being the Eagles. They're winning a bunch of games. They're both sitting, right? So prior to this game's conclusion, that's in progress at the moment, Washington is 7-3 right now, and the Philadelphia Eagles at the current moment are looking at 6-2 right now, I want to say. So there is definitely, to see those two sitting on the top of the division is very surprising. Or at least Washington is. They're 7-2 coming into tonight. So the Commanders have certainly been a surprise. The Eagles have not been a surprise. The Cowboys have been surprising. And the big news there, right, is I think they're going to be sponsored by Ray-Ban soon, or at least if Jerry Jones was smart, he would look into that because of all the sunlight controversy and the light shining down. I don't know if it got Turbin, but I know that it definitely got CeeDee Lamb last week and a number of others as the Cowboys. I don't think that was the intention, was it, to blind the opposing team in their end zone? Because you have to think football's played 50-50. You're going to have half as much time as they have with the same obstacle. So you can't in right mind, right, create that obstacle unless you're placing direct sunlight on the opposing team's bench. But lo and behold, that's kind of what's going on in Dallas. So other than that, not a whole lot, right? They are not doing well. They're not winning. They've lost Dak Prescott. They have Ezekiel Elliott back for what that's worth, and they are a whopping 3-6 going into this weekend. We've run out of time in this segment to talk about the New York Football Giants. So what we're going to do on the other end of the break is I'm going to have just a skosh little bit of a Giants rant. No, we're going to scratch that. We might have that, but I think we're going to save that for tomorrow. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the Tyson Paul fight. I've been watching a lot of boxing. We're going to get into the rough and rowdy segment, rough and rowdy portion of the program where we speak about combat sports, pro wrestling, and all the like. Fighting. I'm Gabe Anders. We'll be right back. This is the real Gabe Anders Show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Gabriel Anders here, and we're going to go another round. I'm going to go ahead and redo this because somebody didn't hit the on switch, and we were not getting out to the masses to talk about combat sports and the fights and all of that. We weren't coming out to you. Nothing. We were talking, but you weren't listening, and you couldn't because we weren't. Our mics were not turned on. Shame. But, newsflash, while we were on break, I'm sure you've heard. If you have not heard and seen it, head over to @RGA Show on Instagram. I went ahead and put up a clip of it. If you have not stumbled in, it's everywhere right now. Biggest news of the night. Mike Tyson fiercely slapping Jake Paul at their final face-off prior to their big fight Friday nights. This just in, reported by ESPN, a source told ESPN's Andreas Hale that apparently Mike Tyson's slap was in reaction to, quote, Jake Paul purposefully stepping on his foot. So apparently, seems like, I don't know, it doesn't really say if that was tonight or if that was prior. I imagine it was probably tonight at the face-off. So Jake Paul purposely showing disrespect, stepping on Mike Tyson's foot, allegedly, and Mike Tyson let him have it. So if that tells you anything about the mindsets that are coming into this match, Tyson versus Paul tomorrow night, Friday night, that's fantastic. I love this. I love every bit of this. I love Mike Tyson getting snippy with the reporter at one of the press conferences, just repeating, I'm going to win. I told you I'm going to win. Not having any other excuse, just as any Mike Tyson. I'm almost afraid for the interviewers when Mike Tyson gets interviewed in boxing mode. Aren't you? Aren't you? Go back and watch some of them on YouTube. It is fantastic that I'm not interviewing them. Because I love the ferocity, the ferociousness of Mike Tyson, but I do not want to be the guy interviewing him before or after a match, or even talking about any sort of fight, because he'll hit me, and I might not make it. I'll tell you what, though, if Jake Paul wants to make it, I was doing some research. That's how much I'm into this fight. I was doing some research. I was doing homework on my on the Netflix matchup that we have coming up. One thing I noticed, and it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see if Mike Tyson at 58 years old, if Mike Tyson, having opened up all the cannabis jobs and all the everything he's done, all the business stuff that he's done after the movies he's been in, the acting roles, if Mike Tyson is the same Mike Tyson. I was talking a little bit about it with Bro Joe, and I told him, man, I might be audibly excited if he is able to, the second I see an attempted uppercut, and if it has even half the ferocity as it did in the 80s and the 90s, Oh man, I'm gonna be jumping. I'm gonna be doing backflips in my living room watching this fight. That's gonna be like, I cannot wait. I am so excited. I watched. I want to say probably the first 2 years, up until his first heavyweight championship of Mike Tyson. Just getting excited watching those knockouts in the first and second rounds, every single match. The shrugging Mike Tyson, walking back to his corner, being escorted back, almost nonchalant after he just knocked somebody fully grown, twice his size, halfway across the ring. Today, I watched a lot of Jake Paul. And the one thing I would say is he has reach, he has size, he has toughness, he has endurance, and he has a very nice win-loss record. Jake Paul is going to need to learn how to finish Mike Tyson in this fight. Jake Paul isn't going to be able to sit there thinking that leaning in and wearing down Mike Tyson is going to be effective. That simply getting him to get gassed or wearing him down, wearing on his stamina. You can't think that that's going to help him, because if he leans in, he might as well do that Tyson Fury trick of leaning in with his hands behind his back and get ready to go on to his next fight, because at that point, Tyson's going to have you opened up. You're going to be done. Leaning into Mike Tyson is like putting your head in a bear trap. Yeah, it's older. It might not work like it used to, but by God, if it does, you're over. It is over, lights out for you. You know what I mean? So I was watching Jake Paul in a series of matches. So obviously, right, he's picking up victories, but I watched him against Tommy Fury, didn't quite get to finish it. I watched him against Andre August, made quick work. Nate Diaz, I don't know why he didn't put him away, but that's going to be the biggest key to this fight on Friday night, is who is going to be the one to put their opponent away. If Jake Paul can do what he hasn't been doing, what I haven't seen him do in a fight yet, is put his opponent away. Mike Tyson comes out swinging in his very first punch, trying to put his opponent away. Mike Tyson walks to the ring ready to put his opponent away. Jake Paul is going to have to really, really up his game, in my opinion. Yes, he has the youth on his side. Yes, he has the stamina on his side. He probably has all of the athletics on his side. He might even have a bit of the fight on his side right now. But dealing with Mike Tyson, if Mike Tyson can overcome the age and still has that Mike Tyson left in the tank for one more fight, if Jake Paul isn't gunning from the bell to put him away, I'm going to give it to Mike. Well, that's the music here, and that could be the music for either Mike Tyson or Jake Paul. But if you're hearing the music, I want to tell you tomorrow we'll be watching that, but here with you, most likely when the match is going on. I'll be on the Real Gabe Anders show that you just listened to. We thank you for joining us. If you are betting on tomorrow night's match, please bet safely and responsibly, and mostly bet to win. Bet to win and to make some money. No, really, bet responsibly and all that good jazz. I'm going to be watching on a delay, so please do not text or call me until probably about 9-10 p.m. Pacific. And, just wait till midnight. Wait till midnight Pacific, and then you can get a hold of me. But for in the meantime, please follow at RGA Show on Instagram and join our new mailing list. The link is there right in the profile. I want to thank you for joining us here tonight. I'm Real Gabe Anders. This is the Real Gabe Anders Show. I bid you adieu until tomorrow. Good night.